Hello, we're back in Snowdonia and I'm Jeanette.
And I'm Pat.
And this is Ecology Matters.
And this is another bat building. So here's the bat building with a superb view out over open fields to the sand dunes on the coast in this part of Snowdonia. And if I just pan along here, you can see it's got a typical wonky roof. It's actually a listed building, this one, so it's got an interesting historical aspect as well. There's the cart shed, and here's the road right next door. There's another little interesting fact about this building, which is you see the roads here, and then there's this big block of woodland on the other side of it. Well, the interesting thing is that woodland is a special area of conservation for bats at the moment, depending on what happens with Brexit, of course. It's also a site of special scientific interest, and it's part of a much wider area for bats in this part of Snowdonia. But the bat building, which has a maternity roost of lesser horseshoe bats in it, isn't inside that designated area. It's just outside. It was discovered after it was designated, so that even though it's literally just across the road, it's not actually protected by the same measures as the designated area. Fascinating. Now, this might not look like very much to you, but in actual fact, it's a critical part of the conservation features of this building. It's an access point over the top of a door, and it's used by lesser horseshoe bats. And I really wish there was such a thing as smell-o-vision, because I would love everybody watching this to be able to inhale here and smell just what like a lot of bats all crammed into a small space smells like. So Jeanette's just opened the door. She's going into the building. We have to be a little bit quiet as we go in, so I'm staying outside just for now while I prattle on this video. Jeanette's inside. She's gone in to count the bats. There's two parts to the building. Just while Jeanette's gone into that bit, let me tell you quickly about this. This is one section. You can see there's a little bit of a porch area with a flying access point for the bats. A beautiful slated roof put together by local specialist contractors. And there's another little section just there by the side, and that's what used to be an old cart shed.
So good news, didn't mean to bang that door so loudly. There's 131 adults with juveniles, lots of bats, all nicely spaced out when I went in there, but sadly you do end up disturbing them a bit, and they've been flying around as I've been trying to count them, but got to 131 before it got a bit too difficult to count anymore.
What we're doing now is just walking round to the back of the building to have a look at some other features which are quite important for these bats. There's a beautiful orchard here on this side of the site. It really is very attractive, and it leads down on quite a steep slope to another area which is important for some other protected species which we were hoping to actually see later on this afternoon. So if you just pan this up, you can see through this clutter of leaves, Jeanette's just walking up to do a little bit of maintenance on the building. So every year when we come to the building here, one thing that we look at straight away is the condition of the access points and whether they're actually okay for the bats. And what I mean by that is, can the bats still get in and out? Are they sort of unencumbered by anything that could be affecting those access points? We do get a bit of vegetation growth blocking them. Sometimes we even get birds' nests and things like that. So every year we come and clip back some of the vegetation, just enough so the bats can get in and out. Being lesser horseshoes, they do prefer, if you like, places where they can get in and out to vegetation very quickly. In other words, sometimes we want the vegetation to be very close to the access point so the bats can just hop out into shelter. It's particularly where there's other disturbing features, perhaps traffic or street lighting nearby. So what we do here is we've got an access point which we'll look at in just a minute. And as the bats fly out, they actually fly, a lot of them, with great regularity all the way through and into this sheltering vegetation. And it's pretty dense in places. Some of them fly down into the garden and round the building at knee height, and some of them fly off into the canopy.
Just going to scan round now and show you the access point. It's a square hole in the rear of the building. Pat showed you the other access point, which is separate to this. Although the two buildings are joined together and the bats can fly from one to the other, they're also separate in that they've got their own access points. This is the one that we need to keep an eye on in terms of getting overgrown and blocked. Fortunately, Chris the gardener's done a good job this year, so we haven't had to do that much. And I'm glad to say that the bats have got full access. Let me just get a bit closer.
Unfortunately, it's time for us to go. We really only got enough time for a very quick visit today. However, we'll be back again soon to do some more filming, to give you some more information about this really exciting bat roost. So just for now, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeanette.
Ecology Matters. Good to see you again. See you next time. Bye now.